This is my instant match reaction to the Tottenham Hotspur 1, Leicester City 2 Premier League defeat at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And I've been saying it during the watch-along. I've been saying how after the Hoffenheim game, I was incredibly negative about Tottenham. And we won, and a lot of people got angry with me about it. And conversely, right now, I feel absolutely nothing. And do you know why I feel nothing? Because us losing to Leicester at home, a team who have lost 7 games in a row, a team who, when I saw their lineup on social media earlier, I looked at some of the Leicester fans' comments and they were like, oh, we're going to lose 5-0. We're going to lose our 8th game in a row. It was inevitable to me that we would lose that game. We were 1-0 up at half-time, and it still felt inevitable to me that we would lose that game. And I'm sorry, the biggest problem that Ange Postecoglou has, and he has a lot of problems, even bigger than the fact that we concede ridiculous goals, the same of which over and over again, even though the fact that we've got 1 point from the last 7 games, even though, you know, all of these things, the biggest problem he has is that a fan like me, and therefore presumably thousands, hundreds of thousands probably of Tottenham fans around the world, will currently be feeling the same apathy that I currently do to the fact that we've lost 2-1 at home in a Premier League game to Leicester, a team who had lost 7 games in a row. It's that apathy and the inevitableness of the fact that results like this keep happening in these league games that is Ange Postecoglou's biggest problem. Because all the chants right now are we want Levy out. And we know when the chants get loud enough at the stadium, Levy reacts. And it's never anything to do with himself. Another manager goes. But we're in such a hole. We are in such a hole because what does he do? He sacks Ange Postecoglou. What? And then gives it, what, to Matty Wells and Ryan Mason? He can only sack him if he's got someone to bring in for him. And if he's got no one to bring in for him who they genuinely believe in, I don't know what they do because, you know, they've made it clear and the fans have made it clear. Everyone's kind of made it clear that we only care about the cups. Well, that's all well and good, except Everton have won this weekend again, 2 in a row for them. Leicester have won against us at home. We've got Brentford away next in the league. What, you think we're going to go to the G-Tech and get a result then? I don't think so. I do not think so. Honestly, the second half of this game, Tottenham were abject. Absolutely abject. And we were winning at half-time, just like we were winning 2-0 at half-time at Hoffenheim. And Ange will come out and he'll go, injuries, mate. Injuries. Well, that doesn't mean... I mean, does he at half-time say to the players, don't worry about being tired in the second half because it's injuries and we'll just blame the injuries? Because that's how they come out and play. In that first 5 minutes of the second half, Pedro Porro and Rodrigo Bentancur made the worst decision-making I've ever seen twice to like press the ball incredibly hard and leave themselves both out of position, and then appalling passes, for the second one. And it's like, what are you doing? This is Leicester. They weren't even like pressing them that hard. They weren't even that good. In the first half, like Leicester had a few chances, but they looked devoid of confidence. But no, don't you worry. You come to Spurs and we'll make you feel more confident. Just honestly, so embarrassing. So embarrassing. And Ange is in big trouble. He's in big trouble. I said it before this week. If he loses to Hoffenheim and Leicester, definitely gone. If he loses one of them, I think he's gone. I don't know. I don't know how anyone can possibly defend this appalling form matched with the way that we concede the goals. Even if you've got loads of injuries, I get it. At least 10 players out today, 14 out during the week. I get it. I do. But as I've said numerous times, what makes you think, oh, look, there have been social media clips this weekend, right? Van de Ven and Romero are back in training. What makes you think that either A, when they come back, they're going to stay fit? Because there's no evidence to suggest that based on the entirety of Ange's career at Spurs. And then secondly, what's going to make you think that if they do come back and stay fit for a bit, that other players aren't going to go out injured? Bissouma out again today. Maddison out with an injury today. Because they're all in the red zone, by which I mean, you know, they've been overplayed and brought back too early when they have had injuries. They all just get injury after injury. And this, again, you know, it's a broken record, but Ange has to take some responsibility. He's talked about it before. Muscle injuries come part and parcel with his management and his relentless style. Well, I'm sorry, but at Tottenham, even in the darkest days, of the Levy tenure, the darkest days, we haven't been 15th and looking behind us like we are now. And yes, there are 3 teams in this league who are worse than us. Southampton, Ipswich probably, and Leicester. We just lost to Leicester at home. So that argument can't fly anymore. And I'll stress it again. I like Ange. I would love it to work for him. And yeah, everyone says, well, look at what happened with Mikel Arteta in his first 2 years. They were brave with him. They were patient with him. Yeah, they came 8th and 8th. We're 15th. It's honestly, it's beyond it. It is beyond it now. And I'm sorry, I know there are a lot of Australian people who watch and they desperately want Ange to work. We all want Ange to work, mate. We like him. He's a good bloke. But the goals that we concede are not just because they're tired and not just because of injuries. The goals we concede are because we are open in central midfield all the time. All the time. And that first half against Everton the other week, that's where I felt they down tools there, and I felt like they down tools in the second half today. They conceded a couple of early goals. They were like, oh, yeah, I'm knackered. You know, I can blame the injuries, whatever. Pape Matar hadn't played for a week or two. He looked absolutely appalling today. I like him as a kid. I think he's got talent, but he looked absolutely appalling today. I'll go through the team. Kinski, I don't think he did anything wrong. Maybe people will say, you know, he dived for the cross for the Vardy goal, the Decadiva Reed cross. I don't think he really had a choice because it's going in anyway. So he dives to try and get something on it or to put off the striker, but it's just a great cross. But the damage had been done. The damage had been done. They're just showing it now. Bentancur flew into a tackle, didn't make it. Porro flies into it, and then Leicester are in down the left, and then he just crosses it for Vardy. Easy. Ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Like, the way that Ange talks about football, about how it's about we have to attack. You know, it's like gung-ho. It's like the old setting on Football Manager you could do. If you were losing in a game, you go to gung-ho. Well, with Ange, it's kind of gung-ho, even when we're sitting back. Like, we're talking about goals here that were conceded when we had the ball in our own half. But he's even gung-ho like when we're in those positions, because that's why Bentancur has just done mad presses, try and win the ball. Well, it's one thing if you win that ball, but if you don't, then man runs forward with ball in central midfield, defender doesn't come to him, bends it into the bottom corner. It's as simple as that. It's embarrassing. And I guess I'm winding myself up more by talking about it for 10 minutes here, but in general, I know that at the end of doing this stuff on Chris's channel, I'm going to go downstairs. I'm not going to feel that shit about it. And the reason I'm not going to feel that shit about it is because it's inevitable and the apathy is set in. And that is Ange's biggest problem, because Levy is going to, in the next month or two, be looking for season ticket renewals. And it looks very much like the players are a bit apathetic about the league because they're like, well, we're all about the cups this season. It's all we care about. We're not going to win a cup when we're playing like this. I'd love to be wrong, and you can meme the fuck out of me if it happens. But we've asked for a while, or people have asked for a while in Tottenham content. You know, all the people who've said for years, I don't care about top 4 anymore. I just want to win a trophy. Well, answer me this genuinely. If we're in like a genuine relegation battle, which we are, and we end up finishing 17th, one place above, or maybe even worse, if we win the League Cup, are you really going to give a fuck about the Carabao Cup? Is it going to be that important to you? Because the thing that people who want trophies so badly, I think a lot of the reasons for it are they have the piss taken out of them on social media all the time. That's what social media has brought forward. Opposition fans getting in the comments, taking the piss because Spurs didn't win a trophy when Spurs came 2nd and 3rd and got to a Champions League final and were brilliant. And a lot of fans, especially young fans, are angry because they're like, oh, my mates take the piss out of me because we haven't won anything. Do you genuinely think that winning a Carabao Cup and coming 17th or 15th is going to stop them taking the piss out of you? Nobody is going to care about winning the Carabao Cup. And we're not going to win the Carabao Cup when we're playing like this anyway. So if you're thinking like that, if you're apathetic about it and you're thinking, I don't care about the league, I've not cared about us getting in the top 4, blah, 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 because we might win the Carabao Cup, get off your horse. This is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Porro at fault for 2 of the goals, so I guess I'll give Kinski 6. He didn't put a foot wrong, I guess. Porro 5 out of 10. He's knackered, obviously. Dragoshin, 6, 5 maybe. Davis gives balance, 6. Archie Gray, I think, worked hard. I'll give him a 6.5. Pape Sarr, 4 out of 10. Terrible. Bentancur made 2 mistakes, 5 out of 10. Bergvall worked hard, 6 out of 10. Son, 5.5 out of 10. Rishi got his goal, 7 out of 10. Taken off at 55 minutes. We need him to be fit for the whole games at the moment, and he's not. Another thing to think about, you think Van der Ven and Romero are going to come back. Well, we're only going to be playing him for like 45 minutes at the start of games. And Kulusevski absolutely spent. I thought he had one of his worst games, 3 out of 10. We lost 2-1 at home to Leicester, guys. This is where it has gone for Tottenham Hotspur. This is, I desperately want to think, the night is darkest before the dawn. And we got some good things coming. But Daniel Levy up on his heated seat in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that he built, from which underneath there's a go-kart track, and the Rolling Stones are coming in a few months' time, and all this stuff that he's done well on the business side. He is under the most pressure that he's been under now. He has to be, because he knows if he sacks Ange, who's he going to bring in? If he doesn't sack Ange, we may continue this way into a relegation battle. And if we, heaven forbid, if we got relegated, we would be fucked money-wise, royally fucked. And people wouldn't turn up to the ground. So Levy is under big pressure because we're so bad in the league, and because we don't pay a lot of wages, we can't get players through the door. And the fans want players desperately because Ange says he needs players. And I think the quote he used was, we're playing with fire if we don't bring in players. And he's got 8 days left until the end of the transfer window, Daniel Levy, to bring in players. But nobody wants to come. No players who are good enough, deemed good enough by Ange or Langer or Munn or whatever, want to come. So what's his option now? To bring in another Timo Werner, another appalling signing? I'll tell you what, it is an absolute shit show at Tottenham at the moment. And yeah, I've managed to wind myself into a situation where I'm annoyed about it. But like I said, in an hour or two's time, I'm going to go downstairs, eat some food, and just be like, kind of laugh at Tottenham. I laugh at them with my girlfriend at the moment. It's laughable. We're a joke. And plenty of you Spurs fans, or a corner of the Spurs fan base, hang your heads in shame for the way you reacted when we had Poch, and where, you thought Poch had to go because we didn't win anything. We had an unbelievable side who were the envy of a lot of Europe at that time. And we couldn't quite get over the line. And a lot of you were like, Pochettino out. Like, hang your heads and look back on those times and think how the grass is always greener, because we are now an absolute laughing stock. And we've got Elfsborg at home. Elfsborg are going to be fitter than that Leicester team were. They haven't played in ages. You think we're going to roll them over and come in the top 8? It's more realistic that in that last Europa League game, we will lose at home to Elfsborg or draw, get knocked out of the top 8, and have to play a 2-legged playoff game in February in the Europa League. 2 more games that then players will get injured at. And then we go to Brentford away next week. You think we're going to win at Brentford away? We're going to lose to Brentford away. And Thomas Frank, who's on our list probably to replace Ange Postecoglou, will do one on, put one on us. Terrible, terrible time to be a Spurs fan. And I'm not ashamed to say it. It's inevitable. I feel apathetic about it. And we're in the mud. And Levy needs to make some fucking changes and prove how badly he wants this, because he doesn't look like he wants it. And all the people who say Levy doesn't care what happens on the pitch are kind of being proven right at the moment. Levy has the purse strings there. The revenue is high, so you can spend. And you might have to properly spend now. You might have to go to Eze at Palace and say to Palace, we need him 70 million. Can you reject 70 million? He's not going to do it, but he has to do it, because we are stumbling to relegation, and it's a joke. That has been my post-match preview. Please do like the video and press subscribe on the channel. Thank you very much.